Most people have lost their free will to a program. They wake up and think the same thoughts they had yesterday, leading to the same choices and the same outcomes. But what if you could catch the animal of your body and retrain it?
Most people lose their free will to those programs, and it's that uncompromising will where you keep training the animal to stay, to get beyond all the cravings, the feelings, the habits of the body, and catch.
That is Dr. Joe Dispenza, a researcher and author who has spent decades studying the intersection of neuroscience, epigenetics, and quantum physics. In this conversation with Jay Shetty, he breaks down the literal biological architecture of why change is so difficult and how we can actually rewrite our internal operating system. This is Synthesize, where we turn long podcast conversations into their most important ideas. We often think of our thoughts as fleeting, but biologically, they are physical connections. When you repeat a thought, you aren't just thinking, you are building a permanent neighborhood in your brain.
The challenge with that is the thought that you keep thinking over and over again becomes a belief. And nerve cells that fire together wire together. So the more nerve cells fire, the more they develop long-term relationships and the more hardwired they become. The more hardwired they become, the more automatic they are. The more automatic they are, the more unconscious they become. So the process of change really requires becoming conscious of your unconscious thoughts, which means
think of your brain like a field of tall grass. The first time you have a thought, there's no path. But walk that same way 1,000 times, and you've created a permanent trail. Changing your mind isn't just about thinking happy thoughts. It's about literally abandoning an old road until the grass grows back and carving a new one through sheer repetition. One of the most startling realizations in Dispenza's work is that your body eventually becomes the pilot. If you feel unworthy for long enough, your body begins to crave that chemical state, forcing your mind to produce thoughts that keep you feeling miserable.
And they're stopping an automatic process. And the body, which has been conditioned to be the mind because it's doing something over and over again, that's a habit, is craving the experience because it wants the emotion associated with it, right? So the thought of being unworthy produces the feeling of being unworthy. That feeling then, when the person feels unworthy, tends to cause the person to think more unworthy thoughts. And it only takes a thought and a feeling.
Your body is like a chemical addict. It doesn't care if the drug is stress, guilt, or unworthiness. It just wants its fix. When you try to change, your body actually panics because it's losing its familiar chemical environment. This is why change feels physically uncomfortable. It's a literal withdrawal process from your old self. If you decide to change, you have to prepare for the assault. Your body will try to talk you back into your old habits because the unknown feels dangerous, even if the known is a life you hate.
The body has been conditioned to be the mind. So the body starts influencing the mind to think more corresponding thoughts equal to that feeling. So here comes the assault. Now, you're not only unworthy, you're everything else that goes along with that feeling. And this is where people have to make up their mind if they truly want to change. Because if you decide to confront that thought and make a different choice, get ready because you're going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel unfamiliar. And there's going to be some uncertainty because you're stepping.
Dispenza calls this the river of change. You are leaving one bank, the old self, to swim to the other, the new self. The middle of the river is where most people turn back because they can't see the other side yet and the water is cold. Success isn't about not feeling the discomfort. It's about realizing that the discomfort is the feeling of the old self dying. How do we actually build the new road? Through a process called mental rehearsal. The brain remarkably cannot tell the difference between a real event and one you imagine with high emotional intensity.
About and rehearsing how you are going to act in certain situations. The brain actually doesn't know the difference between the real life experience and what you're imagining. The research on mental rehearsal shows that the brain will look like in time that it's already had the experience and it's vacant of the experience. Now, keep firing and wiring those circuits and you're going to begin to behave that way. So now you're installing circuitry now to use in your life to get your behaviors to match your intentions. If you said, how would it?
This is the secret sauce of high performers. By closing your eyes and vividly imagining how you will act in a stressful meeting or a difficult conversation, you are pre-firing the neurons. You are installing the software before you actually need to run the program. When the real moment arrives, your brain feels like it's already done this 1,000 times. This goes deeper than psychology. It's biological. By feeling the emotion of your future success before it happens, you are actually signaling your genes to change their expression.
Before the environment changes. In other words, the body's believing it's in that new future. And if the environment signals the gene, and it does, and the end product of an experience in the environment is an emotion, you're actually signaling genes ahead of the environment, and your body will begin to become conditioned to a new mind. Now think about this. If you did that every day, the word meditation literally means become familiar with.
Most of us wait for the promotion to feel successful or wait for the relationship to feel loved. But Dispenza argues that the quantum way is to feel the success and love first. When your body chemically believes the event has already happened, it stops living in lack. You stop looking for the change and start being the change. Let's pause. Why is this so hard? Because we are addicted to our problems. Stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, provide a jolt of energy that makes us feel alive, even if it's killing us.
You're sitting in traffic, the heart is pumping because it's trying to get blood to the extremities because a primitive system is switching on saying that there's a predator, there's danger. And the heart is beating against closed arteries. And the heart starts beating out of rhythm, it starts beating out of order, and it starts beating very incoherently. So when you have incoherence in the brain and you have incoherence in the heart, when waves are incoherent, when they intersect with each other, they cancel each other out. And when they cancel each other out, that's less energy in the brain.
We use our enemies, our traumas, and our stressful jobs to reaffirm our own identity. We need someone to hate or something to worry about because that chemical surge is familiar. Breaking the cycle means being willing to be no one for a while, letting go of the drama that defines you so something new can take its place. To change these deep-seated programs, you have to get behind the curtain. You cannot change a subconscious program with a conscious mind that is stuck in high-stress beta brainwaves.
Change those programs, we got to get into the operating system. And the only way we do that is we got to slow our brainwaves down in that thinking neocortex. The challenge for most people is they have so many demands in their life. They have so many emotional responses to circumstances in their life that they're living in a state of stress and living in a state of survival. In a state of stress and survival, you don't close.
Think of your analytical mind as a security guard. When you are stressed, the guard is on high alert, blocking any new information. Meditation is the process of putting the guard to sleep. By slowing your breath and focusing on nothing, you bypass the guard and gain access to the hard drive where your habits are stored. Ultimately, this isn't a philosophy, it's an experiment. If you change your personality, your personal reality must change.
Okay, if you don't, your response in the way you feel and the way you think being the same, and if you believe that how you think and how you feel creates your life, if you don't change the way you think and the way you feel, your life's going to stay the same because you're the same. I mean, that's the way it works. So fundamentally, it's so important for people to understand that it is actually possible to change. It really is possible.
It is, yeah. I love that you keep repeating that because I think that's the hardest part.
You are the scientist, and your life is the laboratory. If you keep the variables the same coffee, same commute, same complaints, the result will always be the same. The moment you introduce a new thought and hold it with enough conviction to change your emotional state, you have changed the experiment. Breaking the habit of being yourself requires 3 core takeaways. First, awareness. You cannot change what you are not conscious of. Catch the unworthy thought the moment it arises. Second, rehearsal. Don't just hope for a better day. Mentally install the circuitry for one every morning. Third, emotional sovereignty. Stop waiting for your outer world to change so you can feel better. Feel better now and watch the world catch up. The question that remains is this: are you willing to be defined by a vision of the future, or are you going to remain a record of your past? If this kind of breakdown helps you think differently, you'll probably enjoy the next video too.